But then, yeah, so Thursday, I was able to talk to Sterling and told him everything. I told Neil and I told everything that I told Haley, and I told him all the stuff that I was talking to them about. And I sent them the resume and everything. And, he's so happy. He's just so happy because he'd been with me through every step of the way with Cuffed. And still haven't talked about the drama and all of the stuff that has happened in the past, and for me to get in the position that I am with Cuffed and everybody else with Cuffed. So, I don't know, another time. There's just so much that has happened recently that's been on my mind, and I haven't really been able to sort through it yet. So this is exactly what this is for. And so I'm out here, and yeah, so he's just so happy. He was with me every step of the way with Cuff. Showed him my place. The last time I really met with him in person was I was telling him that I was moving out to LA. I was able to show him the first minute of Cuffed because he asked. I wasn't too prepared, but because I was on my phone. I didn't even know you could screen share through Zoom on your phone, but apparently you can. So he saw the first minute before it started getting glitchy, and he was happy with it. He said it reminded him of the beginning of his show, the O.J. Simpson trials, and how there was kind of just this build up with the voices and the music and the visuals. So I was happy. I was so happy. I'm not worried. And ultimately, he's trying to set things up to where we can meet up in person again. And then, yeah, because I told him I was getting my booster and everything. So that might not happen till April, because he literally told me he had a 5-day window, 5-day gap in April from him. I think it was stopping This Is Us to shoot his other show in either, I think, Iceland or Mexico or somewhere all over the world. So you can obviously see why I'm trying to get closer to these guys. Definitely trying to get closer to him and pitch something that he might be interested in. He's not letting me in for whatever reason. Maybe it's just my way about going at it, or I don't know. It's not as fluid as I would like it to be. If it could be as fluid as the time where we talked in the trailer, that'd be awesome. But it's just that when I was talking to them in the early stages, when I first, I'll just say after This Is Us, when I got to visit set, I was trying to see if I can get in a Zoom call or in a meeting in the writer's room for This Is Us or his production company. Like if I could just sit in on one of the pitches that he was receiving. That's all I wanted. But he told me one of the ideas. I was inspired to do another thing. And it's completely different, but it has one theme in common. Just one. The only one theme. I'm not even gonna say it, but I don't even know if that's something that he's interested in, because it seems like everybody's trying to do comedy. It's not a bad thing, but it's just like, I don't think comedy is a genre. I think it's definitely an element to telling a story. But when I think of comedy, just the word comedy, I think there's enough funny parts in the movie for where you would be laughing for the majority of the movie, I guess. And then yeah, like I get that, but there's also got to be I guess plot and all this other stuff to take into consideration. But even when you're exploring those other aspects of the story that aren't supposed to be particularly funny or comedic, there's usually some sort of quip or line or beat in the scene that loosens the tension in order to move on, proceed with the story. And in that way, maybe every movie could be a comedy in a sense. But I'd rather that not be the case. Just saying, maybe I don't know what the fuck oh man. Hello, hello. Last thing I was talking about was comedy. There could be comedy in every aspect of a movie, not be labeled as a comedy. I think that's part of my point. But I don't know if it's true that you might not need comedy in order to call it a comedy. Maybe some sort of aspect of it. But you could have the funniest movie in the entire world, and satire comes along with it. I feel like, that's kind of like the same concept. But maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just think you can take any idea and make it funny in its own way, respectfully. They all want to be comedians, or at least they want to do funny stuff. And I think that's a whole art within itself, comedy. But maybe that's all it takes is to pitch it as a comedy. Maybe that's all it takes. Take the idea you have and pitch it as the comedy, since everybody wants a comedy. Pitch it as a comedy. And then when they see that it doesn't fucking work, hey, what if it's this idea? But in parentheses, it's the idea that you had originally because you knew that shit wasn't gonna work as a comedy. So here is the original idea, the way it was intended. And maybe it even might make more sense. That's not even coming from a situation that I feel is in particular to anything that I've done, but I just feel like that makes sense. But on my part, I can at least say that I can try to take that concept and turn it into a comedy. I can try to take a lot of concepts and turn them into comedy. That just might be playing the game at that point. Because if that's something that I'm hearing, then it's like, damn, I'm hearing it from every writer that I talk to. Companies are accepting, funny stuff, or at least people have been down in the dumps for the past few years. It's time to laugh. I guess that's the vibe. I'm assuming. I don't know. But ultimately, Sterling ended up asking me what it is that I wanted, because I told him the conversation that I had with the assistant director of this Planet, I guess, at the time. And she had mentioned to me that knowing what I want is more broader than what I want as far as a career. And the question grows. The sense is like, what do you want out of your life? What type of lifestyle do you want to live? What do you want to do with your life? He asked me pretty much the same question. After I told him that, it was like, thinking about that gets overwhelming, and I don't really know. And I also told him, came with the other assistant director, that Deborah and Robin also asked me, how could you have gone from, or how does it feel to go from writer, director, your own short, and like working with Sterling and doing all this stuff, PA on a TV show. I didn't really see it like that. Never really felt like I was here. Never really felt like I got anywhere to be in a position to feel like I had to step down. I always honestly felt like I was down. I was always trying to take the first steps up. Not necessarily that I was down. I knew I wasn't down. Maybe I just knew I wasn't all the way down. But I was definitely always in this mentality of climb. Maybe I did feel down. Oh man, that's where I am now. And with the pandemic and everything too, makes things a little bit more interesting, a little bit difficult. But I told her I wasn't afraid to serve. I'm not afraid to serve. And I told Sterling, I'm not afraid to serve. I'm still absorbing and I'm still learning. I have a bigger picture. I have my own bigger picture, and I'm aware that the picture can always be bigger. Like there's always a bigger picture, bigger than yours. And I just want to see how big I can get my canvas to be before I start painting. Maybe. I didn't say it to him like that exactly, but something along the line of that, because I kind of brain farted. Even when Deborah re-explained her question, it's like, I don't know. I haven't had the time to think about it. And when you're thinking about stuff like that, especially during quarantine and the pandemic, it's like, I have no idea, man. You just graduated. What do you mean? Like, I don't. How could you ask me that? But maybe the question, maybe the answer that he wanted was to always be doing something, to always be working, doing something that I want to do. I don't know. I'll ask him next time.